Why your feet might be the key to your whole body feeling different is the topic that we're going to cover in today's episode. This masterpiece, your foot, if you're listening to this on audio only, I am presenting the sole of my foot to the camera. It's an architectural masterpiece. There are 26 bones in your foot, 28 if you include the bones of the ankle. There are 33 joints, over 100 ligaments and tendons. 25% of your muscles and bones are in or start within the foot. There are approximately 7,000 plus nerve endings in the sole of each foot. Architecturally, phenomenal. Oh, there's also 5 arches. What? Are you kidding me on? This week, just about every client that's come in to me, we've ended up working on their feet. Neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain. When I've looked at their feet, when I've listened to them walk up and down the room, I've thought, we need some footwork done. Let's have a play around. We have used things as simple as the humble tennis ball. I was going to call that a golf ball. You can also use a golf ball. It is much more intense because obviously it's small, it's hard, it gets deep into that connective tissue, the fascia and the sole of your foot. I also have little cork balls that are about the same size as the tennis ball, really nice. Another thing that's very useful to use is a little long resistance band. These tools can help free up tension, pain, discomfort in your feet. They can help with inflammation. They can help reactivate those muscles that are in our feet. My dad has very bad bunions, so his big toe is like crossed almost completely over his second toe, which is then making all those toes get crushed together, and his poor wee foot looks like a claw. And he really struggles to walk on. He shuffles. I always think every day you're shuffling to him, he doesn't appreciate it. And I've said, what can I do about this? What can I do about this? And I've said, roll your foot out on a tennis ball. He did it. He then texted me a couple of days later to tell me how amazing his foot actually felt. Can't believe how much less pain he's had in his foot. No shit, Sherlock, I've told you this years ago. Didn't listen, didn't keep up the practice. His foot then tightened back up. Now that he is pain-free or greatly reduced in pain, I have checked with him, are you still doing those exercises? Of course, he has stopped, but I do continually remind him, you need to keep doing it so that your foot doesn't revert back to the way it was previously. So daily practice. When I was first learning about feet and foot mobility, using the tennis ball or using any kind of ball, or even just using your hands, you could use a pen, you could use, if you've got a gua sha tool or the handle of a spoon. Any of these things are really good to massage in, so you can scrape up and down, cross the sole of the foot, round the ankle, on the top of the foot as well. So don't forget about the top of the foot, getting in all around the foot. Really important. So why is it important? Well, the arch that runs from the big toe to the heel, this medial arch, when you talk to people about their feet and about arches, that's the arch that usually comes to mind most prominently. The other arches that are there run from the pinky toe to the heel, across the ball of the foot from the pinky toe to the big toe, the arch cross there. And then there's 2 arches in the centre here. One goes across the way and one goes down the way, just next to the plantar fascia. Your plantar fascia, if you pull your toes back, there'll be a line comes up the middle of your foot. That is the plantar fascia. People who get a lot of pain, I'm sitting in a very awkward position here, so if you're not listening if you're only listening audio, you're missing a great visual. Your calf muscles come down. They then become the Achilles tendon, which comes down the back of the ankle. As it comes round under the heel, that's when we start to call it the plantar fascia. And it's basically just different consistencies and textures of tissue. So you've got that muscle tissue. Achilles tendon is a tendon, and the implantar fascia, we call it fascia. So it's just a thickening and getting a bit denser. Round that heel comes up through the middle of the foot, toe, and then it's probably called something else different by the time it gets there. Lots of people get plantar fasciitis, which is inflammation and pain in the sole of the foot, in the arch. Sometimes it's coming from fallen arches, sometimes it's coming from tight calf muscles where everything's then getting pulled back and up. It's always a bit of exploration. Sometimes it's from an inflammatory condition that you might have, and it happens to be that there's a vulnerability in that area, and then that's where the tension comes. Anyway, back to that medial arch. So that arch that runs from the big toe to the heel, that arch is energetically and fascially connected to, just going to step back, your pelvic floor, which connects from pubic bone to tailbone, sit bone to sit bone. Acts like a bit of a hammock to hold things in. Then your diaphragm, which runs ribcage to ribcage, sternum to spine. That divides the abdominal area. When we inhale, that diaphragm pushes down, squashes all the lower organs, stretches the upper organs, so heart and lungs get a nice big stretch. As digestion and reproductive organs get squished in, then as you fully exhale, those lower organs all get the stretch, while the upper organs get a squish. Now, and then you've got the thoracic duct, which sits in the thoracic cavity of the chest, and there's another little sort of diaphragm thing towards the back of the throat. It's not very technical, diaphragm thing, but we have this stack of diaphragms. So if one of them's collapsed, because everything in the body is connected, there's no start and stop, everything blends into everything. If those arches have collapsed and are really flat, that's going to disrupt the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, the thoracic duct. That's going to, that diaphragm, the respiratory diaphragm, so this one in the middle of the body, also helps pump the lymphatic fluid. If you listen to any of my previous podcasts on lymphatic drainage, really important. So if these are not moving, we're getting into issues within our physiology, within our body. The other thing that the arches in your feet do is they act as shock absorbers. So when your feet hit the ground, taking the impact so that we can spring off. If the arches are not working, so if they're too flat and unresponsive, or if they're too high and unresponsive, that's the problem I have, high stiff arches, then what happens is the bones then get that vibration ricochets all the way up the body and alerts the body that there's a problem. Then our nervous system's going to kick in and go, oh my goodness, there's a problem here, and start to clamp down and restrict the movement. So there's this knock-on effect. So we've got nice responsive arches, we're landing through our foot, we're rolling through our foot. The right signals are being sent through those 7,000 nerve endings through the body to say, I need these muscles to fire in this order with this intensity for this terrain that we're walking over. So problems arise when those arches are not working right from a functional perspective. We also have the problem of putting your feet into shoes with thick soles, desensitizing your connection to the air, flattening out that connection to the air. That then again is going to impact that signal sending up your body. What muscles have to work, when have they to work, how have they to work, what are we meant to do? So you can see where these problems start to come. So we're not getting this springiness in our feet. We're not getting this muscle, nervous system, connective tissue messaging coming through our body. The feet are flat and not moving, or high and not moving. Then pelvic floor isn't moving. As we start to get older, problems with incontinence. Lots of people think it's a weak pelvic floor. It might be a weak pelvic floor, but it might be a tight pelvic floor. Both of them are not springy, spongy, responding to the environment. I've spoken before, previous episodes, about posture and diaphragm. So the diaphragm's not moving, that's a muscle inside your body. Going to impact your posture, so we're getting a collapse through the mid-body, we're restricting breath work, we're restricting breath, we're restricting gut function, we're restricting all organ function, we're restricting that ability to breathe, which then is an impact to the nervous system. It's putting us into sympathetic drive more, it's having us more alert, more connected. Everything just step by step. How we hold our posture is all collapsing. So just by working on the feet, and this happened with at least 2 clients this week, where head was very protruded, shoulders were very rounded. We didn't do any work across the chest, neck and shoulders. We just worked the feet for these 2 particular clients I have in mind. And straight away, their posture changed from freeing up their feet. Their walking stride got lighter. One of them was thump, thump, thump through the heel. The other one was slap, 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 like they were in flip-flops. Both of them got lighter on their feet. They glided with much more ease. They were much more energy efficient in their walking. They were much more precise in their walking. They were kinder and gentler to their entire body. And everything just felt a little bit easier and a little bit lighter. And that's just from working on the feet. And we haven't even got into the soles of the feet and their connection to reflexology points. In traditional Chinese medicine, I believe that's where reflexology came from. I haven't studied it in any kind of depth. I've glossed over. Not on your foot. Right foot connects to the right side of the body, left foot connects to the left side of the body. This top section, the ball of your feet and your toes, is sort of upper part of your body, chest and up the way. Then from the ball of the foot to the base of the heel, this mid part of your foot is the mid part of your body, and then the heel is pelvis and down. And that's a very, very butchered. I'm sure reflexologists listening to it will be, oh, what is she saying? Stop talking. It's very, very brief, very vague, very light description of the breakdown of the foot. So if your feet are crushed in the foot coffins that are shoes, not only is the foot not working properly and the rest of the body up the way isn't, all those organs that are connected, all those parts of the body that are connected to that reflexology, those reflexology points, are all being impacted as well. So you're squishing the foot, creating that dysfunction, both in the foot and up and down. So I'm a little bit obsessed. I did a foot spa workshop back in April 2026, just an online class. Had a great turnout for it. Everybody that came to it was like, oh my God, my feet feel so much lighter, my feet feel freer, I'm definitely walking lighter, I'm walking taller. You can access the recording of that in the show notes. I'm probably going to run it again, so do keep an eye out on social medias or sign up to my email list and you will be able to get access to that. But yeah, the feet are phenomenal. I don't believe it's ever too late to start working on your feet. I've had people with neuropathy, so whether that's been diabetic, neuropathy, or due to some of the cancer treatments that people get. I've had people do work on their feet and feel improvements, get better flow, because neuropathy is a circulation problem as well as a nerve problem, but the nerve problem comes because of lack of circulation. So anything that you can do to help stimulate your foot, when we stimulate the sole of the foot, that's pulling blood back down, and then when we are springing light on our feet, that's pushing the blood back up, so it's improving circulation, it's improving your movement, it's improving your lymph flow. We have all these knock-on effects. Our feet are so important. So important. Obviously, foot dysfunctions like bunions, plantar fasciitis, hammer toe, there's tension and restrictions into the fascia. Strongly recommend that you go to somebody who is enthusiastic about feet, that wants to teach you ways that you can look after your feet, or check out some of my videos. Get my course, my foot mobility and strength course that includes the fascia foot spa. There are lots of things that we can do to improve. Always work with your body and your breath. So if you're doing something to any part of your body, but we're talking about feet today. So if you're doing stuff with your feet and you're holding your breath and you're holding yourself tense and you're clenching your jaw, your foot's not going to relax, your nervous system's not going to ease into it, it's never going to help. Sometimes things will be painful, but we're not trying to cause pain, we're trying to find pain. So we can go, this is where the problem is, how can I work around and about and ease into it and try and release that tension out so that the pain is no longer there? How can I create a little bit more space, a little bit more freedom in my feet? How much space do you have between your toes? These silicone toe spacers are great, but they're not changing the structure, they're not strengthening. They're great to put in for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour in a day, build up to that if you've never put them in before. But they're not going to be the solution to the problem. Working on your feet, massaging into your feet, strengthening into your feet is where you're going to get the most benefit. I don't think that there is much else I want to say on that today. I do feel super enthusiastic, super passionate about feet and the impact that they have in your overall health. If you've got any questions, pop them in wherever you're listening to this. Make sure you follow me on the socials. I am Jen Wilson on Facebook and YouTube. On Instagram, it's I am Jen Wilson. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe. I am Jen Wilson, the Healing Rebel, and we're here to make you move better and feel better. So stay kind and stay curious, and I will see you on the next episode.